What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Live Comic Saturday show. I'm your host, Lou. I've got Amy's up on the slope right now, but she'll be here next week. I've got Liv in the green room, and she'll be coming in here to take over for a segment of the show. Wanted to give a shout out real quick to all of our sponsors, and then our guest will be here in about 5 minutes. But let's give a shout out to the sponsors real quick.
Our sponsors, The Awakening Espresso, located next to us here in downtown Wasilla. EGS Comics Grading Services, our preferred comic grading service here at the shop. Michael Ray Photography, our first choice for cosplay, boudoir, and family photo shoots. Frosted Axe Throwing, when you need to unleash your inner savage, with locations in Anchorage and Eagle River. Schedule your event today. And you can represent with our Aegis Comics swag. Visit our swag shop today and don't miss out on that gear. And you can support the channel with Patreon. And don't forget to subscribe to our Instagram, because we're hysterical.
Ladies, do you want to look awesome in a pair of Aegis leggings? Well, make sure when you order a size larger than you normal wear so you don't look like a busted can of biscuits. You never know what someone will look like in one of these pairs of leggings.
All right, so tonight's show we should be having... Oh, he's calling in right now. Let's check him out here real quick. All right, we've got our guest in the green room right now. Let's see here. Hey, wave at me if you can hear me there, Kurt and Jenny. Yeah. All right, I'm going to bring you guys onto the show here in just a sec. Let me see, give some shout outs real quick to everybody. We got Jean Malo. We got Sith Lordly. We got Wesley's Comics, Wookie Fodder, Sparks, of course. We got Michael Ray Photography, Michael Brown, what up? Let's see, we got Sean from Grunt Comics, what's up, man? Of course, we got the lovely Liv and Comic Talks Weekly. We got Marvin Wynn, the Alchemist of Geekery. What is going on? He just launched Alchemist of Geekery just launched his new podcast this week, so you guys need to check him out. I'll get a link for that in the description. And we've got, let me see who else we got here. All right, we got 14 of you guys live right now, man. We're looking forward to some more subs here. We're trying to climb our way nice and slowly, nice and smoothly up to 1,000. That way we can hook you guys up with some more content and also hook you guys up with that free giveaway that we're doing. You know, we're doing that free Red Sonja Red Sonja 20 signed by John Royal, our Aegis Comics exclusive. So that's going to be a giveaway for our 1,000 sub giveaway, and all you have to do is hashtag Aegis 1000. It's hashtag Aegis 1000 will be how you enter to win that bad boy. But we'll have more details as we get closer. So we've got Kurt and his lovely wife Jenny in the green room here. I'm going to switch out with Liv here, but I'll have them introduce themselves real quick. Let me get them set up here. Gotta love live streaming here, so let me get these guys up here. We're going to assign you guys here, assign you to guest 1. Perfect. We will unmute. And so, what's going on? Oh, can't hear you. Let's see. Oh, I hear you now.
Is it coming through okay?
Oh, yeah. A little bit of lag, but we got you. How you guys doing?
Good. Yourself?
Good. So, we really enjoyed you guys at Comic-Con. That was phenomenal. Everyone's still talking about your guys' booth and what you guys are doing for the industry. I mean, it's insane. Like I said, I'm gonna have Liv come in here in just a sec, and we'll get this show on the road, and hopefully we'll have some questions for you guys from the squad, our normal fans of the show and supporters of the show here. So let me see here. Let me get Liv in here real quick. I'll be right back. And
All right, there we go. All right, and Lou's away, so now it's me.
All right.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Oh, and he's back. Never mind. All right, can you hear us all right, everybody on YouTube?
We can hear you.
Okay, sweet. I mean, you guys are the ones that matter, so. All right, so everybody in the comments is complaining about not being able to hear, but here we go. All right, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Excellent.
Yeah. So,
How about yourself?
good. How many weeks has it been since the con? Because, like, I think I'm still feeling it.
It's
Yeah.
like only been a couple, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks now.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
a lot happened.
It was busy.
It's been a really long 2 weeks, but really good 2 weeks as well.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
We
why
got,
don't you guys
got signed
introduce
up at
yourselves
the new
again?
Comic-Con and the Arctic Comic-Con here recently. Saw you guys had quite a booth presence there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, really? Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're definitely having a little bit of lag. Sorry. Whoop. I'll try to not talk over you. So what? How's the con changed things for you guys? I know that you guys seem to have talked to a lot of people while you were there.
Yeah. I think it validated a lot of interest. You know, we're doing different things that it takes a bit of time to explain sometimes because we've got a lot of different projects going on. And so I think the biggest things for us was just the excitement coming to the booth. We did a pretty good job with having the infinity table there from Arcade 1 up to kind of keep the kids happy and busy, or anybody who was not as interested. So it was nice because we got to have a lot of long-form conversations for 5 to 10 minutes in some cases, you know, going over each of the products and all the different stuff we're doing. So it was really good exposure. I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was really nice being able to be set up across from you guys for at the raffle table. Yeah. I saw so many people walking by, so many people stopping. It was really exciting for me because, again, I am super stoked about all the stuff you guys are putting out.
Thank you. Appreciate that. There was a lot of neurodiverse conversations, which is the root of kind of where the company starts with. We have a lot of things going on around the technology space and things like that, but in the end, we're trying to work towards a lot more neurodiversity and a lot more locked away creativity kind of coming out into the storytelling space, right? Graphic novels, comics, we're doing all sorts of stuff in that space. So.
All right. Did you guys make any connections while you were there that you think is going to help create more products or get more people involved on your end?
Yeah, right next to us, we had a fellow that was doing face painting and some other collectible stuff, and I forget exactly the fellow's name off the top of my head, but it was really cool having a back and forth conversation with him because we're creating a 7-volume series with Gaia's Seed, and so The only thing that's illustrated right now is about half to 3/4 of volume 1, and the story is still very fluid in 2 through 7. We might parallelize across 6 artists at the same time for the final 6 volumes just to bring it to market faster, but it's neat because we have technology changing so rapidly, and we have so much feedback coming in from people now that we can basically come back and modify the story as we go along, because we're making all these predictions about what happens to Earth between now and 2099. And so, it's meant to be a much more utopian story than a lot of the things that kids are seeing these days, right? And so it's neat to be able to have a feedback loop like that. How about you, Jen?
Yeah, I thought it was nice to meet a lot of the new people and see people get really excited about it, and people that wanted to be part of the project. And it was actually really cool meeting some kids that were artists, and they saw our neurodiverse fan art magazine that we put out. And the moms would get really excited and kind of push their kids and say, well, would you show their artwork? And we're like, absolutely, we'd love to. And we're all about supporting artists, supporting kids, supporting people with neurodiversity, and everything in the middle. And so it was really cool to see people excited that we would take them seriously. So we enjoyed that.
Heck yeah. Oh, anybody who's watching right now, if you've got any questions for our lovely guests, feel free to drop those below, and we'll get those happening. Yeah. So, did any new projects in the work?
A lot. We are working on the script for the second Gaia Seed graphic novel. The first one it's getting closer to being done, which we're super excited about. That's our main crown jewel of everything that we're working on. But we also have a StarCraft fan fiction comic coming out. We have a Zelda. We have a Star Wars. A board game based off of our graphic novel Gaia Seed. A Game Boy JRPG Game Boy game coming out based off of Gaia Seed. So there's a lot of stuff that we've been working on for quite a while now that the pandemic unfortunately kind of slowed down the production. So we have a lot of this stuff in the pipe that was supposed to be done a long time ago, but it's all kind of coming to head now.
Awesome.
So a lot.
Yeah. That sounds overwhelming, but also super, super exciting.
Yeah.
It is. We get art drops, daily from that many projects at once. We kind of had to parallelize that way and run, dozens of projects at the same time. When you look at the industry that we chose to get into, it's, the content can take forever to get to marketing, all the different aspects of it. And based on, the risks and investments that we were willing to take, it didn't make any sense to do things in even a small parallelized fashion or serial nonetheless. So we just fired everything up at once, and because we use GPT-3 a lot to write the scripts, and we have such a strong pipeline of editors and ghostwriters and marketing and just all sorts of stuff, we were able to kind of turbocharge a lot of the scripts and work with our different writers. Some of them are embracing shortlyread.ai as well, so they're getting used to the GPT-3 process of generating, I would call it creative writing, right? It's not going to format and do everything you want it to, but it helps a lot with ideas. So we've kind of exploded a pipeline, and now we got stuff coming in, it seems like every other day. So that's a fun part of the job. I mean, the chaos that you mentioned is not, but getting art drops of just amazing things that children and other neurodiverse kids that we work with. I mean, it's just neat to have that stuff coming in constantly. I used to wake up to email nightmares in the morning working in IT architecture, and now I wake up to art drops because so many of the people I work with are overseas. We work globally with all sorts of people, so it's cool. Sorry, Jen.
So we also bought 3D printers for some of the projects that we're working on, like the board game and things like that. And we have a filament and a resin 3D printer. So we were using the resin printer to print a bunch of miniatures for the board game because it can print more accurate little figures. And then we also have a filament one to print, to do some engraving and carving and things. So I couldn't help myself, and I started printing a Magneto helmet.
Oh.
I gotta twist it the right way. Sorry, we're in the lab right now, as you can see the server thing in back of us. So we got the 3D printers around us.
I'm a huge X-Men fan. I have been since I was a little girl. I still have all my old comics, and I saw all my comic cards that I would lovingly sort every day when I was a little girl.
Oh.
And so I've been using the 3D printers not for necessarily work, but for fun. And then with the Comic-Con coming up during Halloween, the next one, I was like, oh, and I've made all of our kids' costumes in the past. I've made a Boba Fett helmet before we had 3D printers, like 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I've made Stormtrooper helmets, and I make all their costumes. I have like a really cool Bowser shell that I've made the kids, and Han Solo, and I mean, Indiana Jones. Like I'm a huge fan of all of those, and so anyway, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to up the game. We're gonna have to use the 3D printer for that. So I'm adding that to the pile of actual work, and then fun is, yeah, I can't help myself though.
See, I think though isn't the thing about 3D printers, you got to be able to make sure that they're balanced and that they're correctly set up. Sure, it's a personal project, but it's still kind of for work because you're making sure you can handle all that
I'm
stuff.
Practicing exactly. That was only my second print, so
wow.
I got used to it first.
Yeah, we did resin for a long time because the board game, we had artists, we had sculptors create every single one of our miniatures because the board game's kind of a Hero Quest plus. Hero Quest really botched the pro version when they went to Games Workshop and turned into a miniature selling machine. So we kind of took the idea from Milton Bradley 20 years ago and the ancient stuff and took the idea of a mentor role. And younger kids able to play. I remember being 7, 8, 9 years old and wanting to play Hero Quest, but it was too complex, right? And so, not a concept of a dungeon master, but the concept of a mentor that's kind of helping the kids. So we can stretch that range from like 8 plus, to be able to play a light scale JRPG. I'm sorry, a TTRPG, tabletop RPG game. So we created all of it. We invested in all these printers over here and did most of them in resin, which is more popular for the miniatures, and then sent them out to artists and had thousands of dollars worth of miniatures painted professionally to kind of give away at the Kickstarter. So we've got so much primed and ready to pop. Like all the elements are just there waiting on one piece. It's exciting.
Man, that sounds... Sorry, the phone started. All right. I don't know how to... Okay, Lou's got it. We're good.
Nice.
Yeah, Amy's in the comments. She's working right now. Hard at work. Probably, lapping us work-wise. But she wanted to thank you guys so much for being part of the con. You guys were a popular stop, and you donated so much to us, and we just absolutely loved having you there.
Yeah,
it was our pleasure.
Yeah,
she also says she might need your help with Halloween costumes.
I would love that. I love making things. I'm also a chocolatier. So I love making my chocolates. It's my passion, and I love making them beautiful. And we actually have a commercial kitchen in our house because I'm also a germaphobe, and I don't like people touching my stuff, and especially or breathing on my chocolates. And so anyway, we have a chocolate kitchen in our house, and I love it. I love having my own space.
She means me. I'm not allowed in there.
All of them, but mostly him. Honestly, he's the worst, even out of our children. But yeah, I love creating, but I don't really like. It's hard. I don't wear the costumes. I don't really like the attention. I'm outgoing, but I don't really enjoy that, but I love making them. So anytime anybody wants help with a costume, I'm all about it. I will help them make it. I will print something for you. I will, I also sew, I quilt. So I have too many hobbies.
I feel that.
We have Gaia seed chocolates, by the way.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We didn't bring in. We were going to, but
we ran out of time.
Yeah, we ran out of time. But we're going to be bringing in the next Comic-Con and kind of coming up with an Alaska-themed Gaia seed flavor or something.
Ooh, that would be amazing. Amy says, # Girls Night Out is about to go down, and she will bring the wine because she heard chocolate.
So we have to have chocolate, and we have to do some cosplay. It could be like a sewing circle, but a cosplay circle.
Can I get in on this?
Our costumes, and we work on them together, and we play off each other's skills. I think that would be incredible.
Yeah. Also, Michael Ray Photography. You guys probably also met him at the con.
Yeah.
Really is it cool if he reaches out to you guys about 3D printed products?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for is kind of collaboration right now. We've been in a cave for 18 months through the pandemic and homeschooling children on the spectrum. Just so much going on, and yeah, we're trying to come out and hear ideas, and the neurodiverse fan art quarterly is due at the end of August, start of September, and so we're going to be gathering ideas for different people's favorite fan art and kind of walking through the process of lining things out probably soon for the line art and different activities, art and things like that. So yeah, it's a time to reach out.
Oh man, that's so cool! I'm so excited. I'm supposed to be professional interviewing you guys, and I'm just like. I'm ready to get involved.
I'm excited too. Nerdy stuff is so exciting. There's so much to be excited about.
I know. Oh, Amy says, "Oh, his photography's about to go to the next level," and she didn't even think that was possible.
I've seen some of the pictures. It is pretty amazing.
Oh gosh, I mean, we got some up in here in this office, and I'm just like, someday,
Really
someday
cool.
I will have a costume
That
and
was
the money.
downside of the con, is we didn't get around. We were fairly busy at the booth consistently,
Yeah.
and then I made friends with the booth next to us and was chatting all sorts of ideas around, mostly Norwegian, mythology and stuff to integrate.
Ooh, okay.
But we just didn't get a chance to go around and see everybody's stuff enough. We were just kind of absorbed. So yeah, that's we're definitely bringing an extra body next time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It seemed like you guys were real busy.
We were. It was awesome, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I heard people upstairs because I had to make the rounds. I heard lots of people talking about your booth. So, and
Well, we met the artist team there, the artist allies. There was a lot of great conversations that we had with them about bringing some of our stuff to a next level. We've been creating on our own. It's really, I think our stuff is mostly professional looking and mainstream, but we literally, it's the autodidact route. She's a chocolatier and I'm a, automation and IT guy, so it's been a lot of learning and talking with, I think it was Roberto, talking with him was really cool to kind of see the spark in his eyes around the intellectual property that we had and our desire to kind of parallelize, because he provides a strong bench of artists. So if we were to do all 6 graphic novels for 2 through 7 at the same time, we got some great leads on the comic cards too. So.
oh, that's real good. Michael Ray Photography. He thinks that you guys probably should just put together a voice recording for next time because you had so many people coming through. Save your voices, jeez.
I know. I was thinking that. I'm like, I bet the people around us are so tired of hearing us repeat ourselves.
I can only speak for myself, but I was super hyped to see it hear it every single time. So
Okay, good.
Appreciate it. The data science piece of it, I think, took off really well too. One of the core projects that we're working on, Gaia Seed is built around the concept of 20 core data science concepts that we do digital whiteboard animations with. We were partnering with After School. He got pretty busy. We may still continue, but man, his channel exploded. Digital whiteboarding is just such a great way to get across complex ideas. So walking through those 20 concepts with parents while they're, it's hard because our market is kind of parents encouraging their kids to look at science in a different way, especially data science and artificial intelligence. And so it was neat to figure, are the kids more interested or are the parents more interested? And it was fun, having concepts and talks around neural networks and quantum computing, and it really excited a lot of folks. So that's good for us. We partner up with datascienceforeveryone.org, and we have commitments that we've made to them as a business and myself as just as personally. So that's where a lot of our animation series is going to go. So Gaia Seed is a graphic novel, board game, JRPG, but it's also all 3 of those storytelling transmedia elements refer constantly to 25-minute digital whiteboard videos that all the scripts are built out for. Right now we're just partnering on animation, and it'll kind of give those kids the next step, like let's jump over here and see something fun. And then in the YouTube we've hired some educational writers to put together like top 20 resources for kids. There's so many free. Code.org and Microsoft have teamed up to bring K through 12 AI education to the entire United States. Whatever school district will accept it. Data Science for Everyone, the one I've been talking about, they just need ambassadors to reach out to school districts and tell them it's time to change the way kids learn. They need to learn how to learn, not so much learn things, because lifelong learning and automation is going to change the way that they're going to work through things so much differently than what we're experiencing. So I'm droning on. I'm sorry. That's our focus, is to bring excitement to quantum computing. No crossed eyes. Like we have our next one. Sorry, just give me a second. It's exciting.
No, go for it.
After watching the most recent Predator, it was really cool for us as a family to see that they weren't after an Arnold Schwarzenegger type, right? They were after the autistic kid. And so that really excited my oldest son. He loves Predator and Aliens. And so our most recent GPT-3 script is around a female predator coming back to Earth and basically checking on the climate, because that was the other main thing about Predator, is they were waiting for us to kind of cook ourselves because they prefer the temperature 10, 20 degrees over. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of coming to see if the planet would be hospitable and, they could terraform or whatever and get rid of humans. But the other main concept is they were extracting DNA, and that's why they wanted the autistic child, because he could read their language. Anyway, let me shorten it down just a second here. So the concept is a female predator who lost her children through like rites of passage, the Spartan way of the predators, is coming back to Earth. And she has uploaded her children, one into the ship and one into a drone that launches off her backpack. And so she's like this mother that's lost her children and is trying to enhance predator DNA, not in the physical form. If you watch the most recent with the 11-foot tall predator and all that. So I think they've perfected and harnessed enough DNA from around the universe to get the physical form, but she's working on the mental and what superpowers she can get from neurodiverse children. And so she finds a young kiddo that's, I think we kind of settled on the idea of like a foster child had lost his parents. And so in the end, he flies off with the predator. Anyway, tons of stuff. But we're trying to bring in quantum computing, right? Upload, neurological upload, right? Quantum computing concepts, weather science. In the end, the predator kind of swoops by our satellites that are cooling the planet, and her job was to like reprogram them to heat things up more. And, the kiddo convinces her not to and let humans have a chance. So I think I'm drawing on.
Our goal with it is that we really want to like educate kids and teach them. And I know that one of my biggest, I loved comic books and I loved sci-fi movies. And, I remember biking down to the comic shop in Fairbanks, Alaska when I was, 9 years old every single day in the summertime and checking out the comic selection and the comic cards. And, and so we're trying to tap into that because we see with our children, and 2 of them were autistic, that they really, really are drawn to that stuff as well. It seems like, and so we're trying to use that to educate kids. We're trying to use fan fiction and things like Predator and things like Metroid and Samus and Zelda and Star Wars, all those things to help educate kids on these topics.
Hi, Lou.
Hey.
Oh, give him a second.
Yeah. We'll show him. We'll show him.
Yeah.
Let's bring up the PDF. Real quick.
Right. So Lou's got a PDF he wants me to show you guys. Let's just click and drag it right into here.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, fantastic.
Have them talk us through it.
Yeah.
I know you have to do
Yeah,
that.
so we can click through this. I'll cover my face here. We'll make this easier on
No,
everybody else.
stop.
There we go. We don't gotta see it now. How about you guys just kind of walk us through this if it's okay if we show this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to start, Jen, or you want me to?
Yeah, so here's just the very beginning of the story. We wanted to show Kalek, who is, he is an android, like he's an artificial intelligence, but the difference between him and like just a regular old robot, as somebody would say, would be he was given our, unsupervised learning. Woo! So unsupervised learning, and that's a term that I think a lot of kids wouldn't know what that means. And what that means is if something has unsupervised learning, it means they can learn. They can, and that's what kids do. They learn and then they become individuals. They all start out as little babies that all do the same thing, cry and eat, and all that, but then they learn. And so we're kind of teaching those kind of concepts. And so this is Kalek, and he has an android that has unsupervised learning. So he's kind of his own person, and he's teaching Celine about the world. And Celine's our main character, and she's kind of like the nature side of our story, and he's kind of the technology side. But he's like a really kind, father figure to her. And then the tree is the tree of life, and he's kind of augmented it with technology so that she's able to communicate with the tree of life. And that's kind of, and then we go through like flashbacks of how they kind of got here, because this is set in the future. So
yeah,
and this is the flashback showing kind of how we got here, the steps. Like first it was social media and people being wrapped up into their phones, and then it's the personal digital assistant, which is like right around the corner from right now.
Oh yeah.
And then it shows augmented reality, what a lot of people would think of as like Ready Player One kind of thing. And we're kind of going down that path, and so we're kind of trying to show that it's not that unfathomable. A lot of people think, oh, that's, like when they think of AI, they think of Terminator, and it's like, well, it's not like, I don't think it's going to play out that way. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think so.
I think it's more our generation now. I heard a lot at the Comic-Con, Ultron, that's what came up first.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
Ultron
I
has replaced Terminator, which is a little less dystopian.
Like, not really.
No, not really.
Yeah.
So we inject these flashbacks. We decide each volume how many of the concepts to inject in. So our comic is kind of broken up between 3 or 4 pages, and then sometimes a flashback, during the storytelling part. So throughout each volume, what we're trying to do is not focus young readers on the misery of maybe what could happen to this world in the middle of this century. Instead, we're focusing on 2099, looking backwards about how it was solved. So rather than talk about water wars that are coming and all these things that we hear about, a lot of them won't come true. Some of them will come true. We're trying to filter and bring the most utopian things in, because the Gaia Seed came about by a lot of young minds communicating to us. I worked a lot in automation, so I was used to hearing the utopian side of it and the technocrats and all that. And then when you get down into the dirt, if you will, you start finding out that people are pretty afraid. Like they're going to, will a robot take my job.com and freaking out a lot, as things are starting to really progress with automation. And so our focus is to kind of slow that down, help a younger generation. Our belief is that we're going to have massive disruption between now and 2030. And so 9 to 13-year-old kids, if you look at like Michio Kaku, you lose scientists in middle school, right? That's the area and period you lose them. So we focused on 9 to 13, and I think those kids, if you will be adults at a time where they're coming into a market and they need to kind of fix the things that we're rolling dice right now. Silos of intelligence. I mean, you just take a peek at OpenAI and Google and Microsoft, everything that's going on right now, and there's a Wild West and a land grab. With our world leaders, Putin and all that, speaking to whoever controls artificial intelligence controls the world by 2025. That's where we're trying to kill that dystopia off and focus on a little better story. So yeah.
Let's push forward. I love the juxtaposition between the colors of the flashbacks versus kind of like the hopeful future now.
Yeah. And somebody asked if this was the art from the actual project, and this is the first few pages of our graphic novel that are finished. And our artist is from Turkey, and his name is Deniz, and he's amazing. He's been so incredible to work with. We wrote the script, and I wrote a lot of it, and worked with my husband with it, and because I needed him to explain some of the artificial intelligence nuances, because there's a lot of them, and so I wrote it, and I'm not like a script writer, and so some of the stuff I would just put down I don't know what that's going to look like, but this is what I want. And every time we get the page back from him where I'm just unsure of how he's going to be able to accomplish whatever it is I asked, and he nails it every time. He's incredible. We love working with him.
We almost don't want to, we started improving on our script writing in volume 2, but I almost don't want to, because we left out so much detail. It gave Dennis creative freedom. We could never do what we're doing right now if we didn't give so much creative freedom to our artists, right?
Yeah, he's been amazing to work. I'm so glad we have him. He's like a partner, because we couldn't do this without him.
And to bring it into perspective, in the recent news here in the last 10 or 12 days, you've watched, the hunter-killer drones that were partially produced by MIT with a Turkish company, and then I think they hunted down people and killed them in Syria. And so you have your very first HK type of AI killer bots, whatever you want to say. So we are at the precipice, and you've got the Israeli, automated ATV units with mounted guns on top patrolling the border now. So we have Israel claiming an AI war that they just won with the Iron Dome. So this stuff is so pertinent right now, and it's just going to scare people more and more unless they have some type of just different way to perceive where things are going. It's fear is, look at the Sith kind of mantras and stuff, right? Fear is the killer, and if we can put better visions of where things are going, and this page is important, like this vision right here. You can see the quantum computer in the background, and it's talking about the technology Cold War. Me and Jenny wrote that a year ago, where I was telling her it's going to come. Now we're seeing Huawei and this type of stuff, but you're going to have a true technology Cold War. Now front lines. Fourth Industrial Revolution is what this is based on. This comic is based on. Nobody was saying those type of things when we started writing 18 months ago, only 18 months ago. Now you have some of the biggest corporations in the world. Our government hasn't really stated we're in the middle of the Fourth Industrial Revolution yet. But like Dell, NVIDIA doing all this AI work, regularly you're seeing the leaders of large technology corporations stand up and say, we are in the middle of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And so part of me, the fear that drives me, is that not enough people are paying attention to that. And so I kind of want adults to pay attention to that and kiddos to pay attention to the utopian, because I study computational social science now, a new field to go into, and it's very important that we use data to show the human condition. And I feel like I'm droning on again.
No.
Yeah.
Look, this is something you're passionate about, and it's something that's super interesting. Okay, just because I gotta phrase this one right. It's interesting and you're passionate about it. Don't kneecap yourself here.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's these are very taboo topics. You know, I worked a lot in technology advisory boards. I sat on a lot of them for companies, and so I always was seeing 3 to 5 years out of where, you know, vertical gardens were a regular thing I was seeing 10, 12 years ago. And so that type of constant future forward, it really brings a lot of passion. And it's true. I have the AI bug, I guess is what they call it now. Like, I look at it and I see the massive change. And when I look at the world's problems, AI sits above all of it. Like, oh, we have problems in the courts or something. That's okay. Put some law tech in, you know. Oh, we got problems in the medical industry. Well, let's insert some med tech. I mean, these are going to disrupt everything, and you're going to have Amazon as your medical provider and Apple soon. But, you know, it's a joke. But the point is, things are going to disrupt. Well, I mean, a medical provider, they might be your imager. They'll for sure be shipping your pharmaceuticals and doing, you know, the imaging and stuff. But yeah, things are going to disrupt really quickly, and that's why we put the links. We have parents links and kids links, you know. So like the YouTube series that have kids links, and then the parents links, like, you know, these are the things you should be thinking about, like for your children's education, for your transition into this job market. You know, first thing I tell anybody is read Future Proof, Evan Roos. It's one of the most important books anybody can read right now, because it takes your fear down and makes you understand what AI can actually do and how soon it might displace people. It's a taboo topic. It excites a lot of people, gets a lot of people pissed off sometimes when I talk about it, but I think it's mainstream now. We're in the middle of, you know, change. So.
Yeah. Ooh.
So yeah, there's a lot of elements to it. These characters are near and dear to us. They each come from the minds of different children. Some of the stuff injected in there comes from LGBTQ community. When I was reviewing this with a whole bunch of folks, sitting down with an all-female audience. I did an all-female review because we were trying really, really hard to have more expression around that. You know, we have all boys. They don't, and for them, it's like they don't quite understand the opposite sex sometimes. So that was a folk, and they're autistic and very excited about the idea of having relationships when they're older, and they know it'll be a challenge, you know, and so it's really cool to see that element where we can express those type of things. And we have a great editor that, you know, we have such a problem sometimes with artists sexualizing things a little too much for a 9 to 13 graphic novel. And so that's our biggest cost, is telling people, I want you to pay you more to unsexualize this. And I probably should just demand it because I said it up front, but it's so rooted into the comic industry in some ways. And we're aiming 9 to 13 plus. So we're really trying to keep that under control too.
Right. I super appreciate that as an older sister to both younger brothers and younger sisters, having, you know, a book that we all can read and everybody be comfortable reading. You know,
yeah.
I really appreciate that personally.
It was neat taking that type of feedback, because I don't think a lot of people are approached saying, what is your position or thing that you would want to champion? And so we took just a ton of feedback in. This was a very hard project to put together due to not just young neurodiverse ideas, but the sheer volume of different people inserting. And that's why we have the Tree of Life in Antarctica, and the concept that throughout all of human history, myths, legend, religion, whatever, vampires, all these different things have been rooted on the island underneath the ice of Antarctica, you know, with the Tree of Life and Gaia. And the concept is as the Earth melted off, while artificial intelligence was proliferating, the world also understood that there's a very spiritual, mystical world that we didn't quite understand. We saw pieces of it, you know, there's some fairies and dragons and all these different myths and legends. We didn't realize they were there the whole time. And that's some of the pages that you'll get to, is the split of the human race, right? So in the middle of the century, you're going to have a trichotomy, whatever. You're going to split off 3 different branches.
That's more in... That is more covered in our second volume that we're working on now. And our artist is about 2/3 of the way done. We have, what do we have?
On page count?
Yeah, we have
60.
total 60 total. And then we have 30 that's completely done. and he actually he has to do what do they call it? It's mandatory service in Turkey. So he got kind of waylaid a little bit working on this, but he said he can't have he can't bring his computer and things like that when he does his mandatory service. So he's bringing a sketchbook and he's sketching out all the pages in advance for us. And then hopefully when he gets back, it'll be
we're gonna have a
pretty
treasure.
quick.
He's gonna be shipping us a
Wow.
treasure from a Turkish army camp or something.
Yeah, so
you know?
we're excited. It's like we're hoping it'll, because he said he's like, I won't have much else to do, at night. So this will be my entertainment, is finishing out inking everything. So
I want to explain this one. So one of the most fantastic ideas that came from Young Ideas was the concept of, there was a lot of interest in tattoos, but there's so much taboo, like young children can't have tattoos, things like that. But there was a lot of interest in the classrooms, 5th, 6th grade classrooms I was talking to. And so the idea was the tree of life, with the biomechanical imprint that she's doing there, it basically creates an imprint on your body that houses the mana, if you will, right?
Ooh.
And so this is all about balance between technology and nature. The whole theme is about finding this balance at the turn of the century. And so it's really cool to see these. Well, there's more than one tree of life. We'll get to that, down the road. But they are the balance. They are the tip of the balance, right? The ability to pull the power from these life trees is going to be, a really neat concept through imprint powers and things like that, through these tattoos they'll get on their bodies.
And our characters are kind of all over the place in a good way. We have a djinn, an ancient djinn, and she's helped raise Celine. And we have Alis, who's kind of like a brother to Celine, even though they're not, biologically, but they were raised together. And Alis was inspired by our youngest son, who wanted like an Indiana Jones type character, like a young Indiana Jones. And he always has his faithful dog with him, just like our son. Our son loves animals, and he has a dog, and her name is Hera. And she was named after Hera Syndulla from the Rebels, Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, she's a bastard.
Because she's got the big long ears.
Oh my gosh.
Like
I love that.
She's cute. And he loves that dog. They're best friends. And he got her on his 7th birthday. And those two are inseparable. So the character in the book has a dog named Hera. And it's a basset hound, and it's the cutest dog. And we love it. It's one of our favorite parts of the story. And then we have a samurai, and she's like one of my favorite characters. Like her story, the second volume goes into her backstory, and it's going to be so good. I'm so
Hers
excited
is really
about
important
that.
around the continuum, right? So we've got like Cyberpunk 2077, all that kind of stuff out. I don't think people quite understand the concept of a cyborg and transhumanism yet, right? Cyborg, right here, intelligence augmentation happening all the time. You don't need a neural link, but the point is, to better define that continuum, where do you bridge from an android to a cyborg? Can you go both directions? Can you bring biomechanical or organic manipulation in? Because we have a biomancer, right? He collects dinosaur DNA. This is our oldest. Like as he goes through the quest, he collects ancient dinosaur DNA and uses biomancy to call dinosaurs to fight for him. So. Yeah,
That's so cool. That's so cool.
They were stretched. We have a lot of ideas that had to be compacted, right? So yeah, it's we wanted to bring these concepts in. So Matsu, the Matsu Valley, right? Matsu, which is where Alpha is, the first relocation megacity that Agnes, the artificial general intelligence neural Earth system, builds. Humans have to be mass relocated. Think like Battlefield 2042 style. That's really dystopian, but we don't have like the concept of no-pats. We have the concept of humans that didn't want to neurally uplink and be relocated to these sanctuary cities, if you will, this new generation of Earth. They can stay behind in the ruins of Earth without technology, right? They're perfectly fine. There's no animosity there. And then the third branch of humanity follows Gaia underwater and transforms into merfolk. The very first biomechanical interface with the Tree of Life is what's called aquatic adaptation. So the first test of this tree, of combining technology and nature
You're going
together.
into the second one. You're spoiling it. You're spoiling it.
Just too exciting. Gosh, like nobody can see my face because I have specifically covered it up with this, but I'm freaking out over here. Like, when can I get this?
Yeah, I'm like fingers crossed. We are so excited. We're so hoping it'll be done by August. Like that's our goal. And like, I would be so sad if it's not done by the time the Comic-Con comes around, because we wanted to have it was hard because it was supposed to be done, but just life happens and the pandemic and everything. So we were hoping to have it a lot sooner, and it would have been a lot easier to have this product because it's kind of like our board game and our JRPG Game Boy game is based off of it. Doesn't really make any sense to have those things if we don't have the graphic novel. So it's been a little bit hard to kind of like tell everybody. It takes a lot of explaining to kind of get to what, like, this is what we are, this is what we do.
Right.
We have a Patreon page by page for $2. So we're going to be, every week, we're going to put out the sketch pages, and the next week color pages, sketch pages, color pages. By the time the graphic novel is out, you will have potentially been able to read it all the way up until that point. We're thinking middle of August to middle of September in that time range. For sure before the next Comic-Con. That's the hope.
Awesome. So that's the end of October, and you guys are going to be there.
Yes, we're going to be there.
Yep,
And we're going to be there, and we're going to be hanging out, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have to talk cosplay for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I've got ideas. I don't have ideas, but I see potential here.
Yeah, I have a good friend who's like, oh, I saw my Magneto mask, and he was like, oh, you're going to help me with my my Cyclops cosplay. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't like Cyclops. I can't help you.
Oh, get wrecked.
And I was like, can we talk about Daredevil maybe? I really want to make a Daredevil cowl.
See, the problem is I have standards and you don't. Ah.
He was like, ouch, ouch. I'm like, I'm sorry. The whole thing that happened with Madeline Pryor when he married her, like, and then left him and the baby, I can't handle it. Scott Summers, Cyclops I'm not a fan.
Not a fan. Oh no, we could probably just talk comics all the. Unfortunately, it's almost like that's the job and the show. I mean, we totally could. Oh my gosh,
Well,
we'll
we'd
get you
love
back
to come
on
back
here.
on and go a little deeper. I think Lou was talking to us about carrying the comic in the store, and we've just, all the boxes for the comic cards we were going to give away.
Ooh.
We had some professional boxes printed out for the collage, 3x3 9-set comic card page for all the different characters that we have. So we were hoping to come down and pitch them on maybe carrying some of those before we maybe recreate them with the artist allies. And yeah, I got a lot in the pipe. We're looking forward to supporting you guys and working back and forth maybe a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. And if he says no, I'll twist his arm about it.
I didn't put him on the spot or nothing.
No. He
mentioned it 3 times, so I figured it was safe.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We would absolutely love to have that, I'm sure. And we can hook you up, everybody watching. We got you.
The last piece I would say is we follow you guys and watch what you're doing with artists a lot. We're really, outside of Artist Allies and some of the more immediate projects, we're pretty interested in getting to know some of the folks that you guys team up with.
The local artists.
Yeah, local artists. We have some big projects. We still haven't finished all of our Autism in Alaska series of kids' books, and we got a lot of stuff. And we reached out during the pandemic, and it was really hard. People were in the deep of it.
Right.
People were just not into getting out and partnering at the time. So we're looking forward to, approaching Alaska again.
Yeah. We just had a local artist, Kay, come in who specializes in acrylic paintings. We posted about it on our Instagram. But, like, we're super hyped to have more and more local artists and local people coming in to work together. So I'm hyped about working with you guys, hyped about seeing that connection with Michael Ray Photography and you guys. Like, there's stuff in the works.
That's amazing. We love collaboration. It's the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's lifting all of us up all together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Patreon's done that a lot for me as I've reached out. I think we probably signed up for more Patreon sometimes than we take in, but there's just so many great ideas out. The creator economy and the passion economy, if you want to differentiate those two a bit, they're sparking right now. And I think with GPT-3 and DALL-E especially, and now that you can run your comics through a concept art generator, these are not getting rid of human jobs. We employ way more people than when we started using GPT-3. So I really encourage people that have a creative spark in them. Now's the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Lou dropped the link tree to your guys' stuff again. And for some reason, it's not popping up for me to put on the screen. So if you want to feel like typing it in, if you can't see it in the comics, it's Linktree/BiFrost Studios. And you better go get on that Patreon because
we appreciate it.
That's going to be
a lot on there. Just to be clear, it's not just art and comics. We've sourced all of our STL files and a lot of the different miniatures for 3D printing folks. There's a lot of different things on there. We even have some educational materials, which are also free on Gumroad for download. But we have an ABC cutout for kids. That's
Breath of the Wild.
It's all Breath of the Wild original artwork. That helped our
my nephew was starting kindergarten, and it was the beginning of the pandemic, so they were homeschooling, and like they were having a hard time getting in on. I told him like flashcards are really, really helpful, but he was still really struggling with the flashcards, and I'm like, we got to make it interesting. Like that's what I'm talking about. You got to take what they're interested in, and he loves Breath of the Wild, and I love Breath of the Wild. It's one of the only games I'm good at and that I can play. I don't play a lot of video games. I read a lot of comics and I like do a lot of cosplay, but I don't actually play video games except for Zelda. I have invested a lot of, we don't need to talk about how much, but we've invested a lot of time in Breath of the Wild. And so I told Kurt, I said, we should totally make him a set, with all of like, V for Vo and, and B for Bokoblin. And it was really fun. So we enjoyed creating it, and he loves it, and it got him, he learned his ABCs incredibly fast, and it really helped him. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, take what kids are interested in, like that passion that we had when we were kids, and getting them interested in education and learning hard topics.
Yeah. And again, like you were mentioning earlier, becoming lifelong learners and learning how to learn and not just learning facts, statistics, and skills.
Yeah.
And not be daunted by that. Like, I come from a field where you have to do that. Teachers have to do that. Nurses, continuing education. But that's almost like continuing education. We're going into the field of automation. You saw it in the Matsu School District this year with the superintendent stating things are changing now. You don't have a choice any longer. Kids have to leave high school with a career path or else they're lost, to automation. So we are really excited about getting kids a lot more interested without the fear. I mean, if you're already at 23 and you don't have the education and you have to catch up for so long, that's a very different situation than already learning how to learn. It's hard to learn how to learn. Constant input and how to unlearn. Very, very important to unlearn at this point as well.
Yeah.
So I'm preaching, sorry.
No. Again, don't kneecap yourself. You were doing absolutely. I have to tell my friends that a lot. They'll be like, oh, let me tell you about this thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've been talking for 4 hours. I'm like, shut up. I love you.
See, this is my community. This is what I do. We're making our way out, and this is the type of forum that we really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you love to hear about other people's passions. And this is just so cool. Again, like, the more I learn about your guys' graphic novel, the more hyped I am to read it. And the more I see, like, all the other transmedia stuff you guys are doing, I'm like, I gotta get all my hands on this. I only have 2 hands, but I need more hands to hold on to all these.
We're gonna have to come down and visit you guys, bring you down some printouts and stuff. So.
I'll have to bring some chocolate.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, wait till Amy comes in next week, so you gotta wait till then, or else she'll be mad and sad at us.
Hey, quick question. I know
sure.
We're low on time here, but how did the raffle go for the veterans piece? Was it really successful?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I could probably talk about it for a minute, and Luke could come in and maybe get some actual facts and figures on that.
I just didn't know how
it was
really inspiring to me.
It was super good. And again, also like the consoles that you guys donated, like we only had those out for the second day. We had the 2 systems that we raffled off at the same time. Dude, I swear, hundreds of dollars.
Go, like literally jump in the air. Awesome.
Those are guys that work next door, and I went in to play a Magic tournament last night. Still bragging about it. Still like, look at me, what I got. Look what I got.
With the D&D Magic stuff coming out in the last couple days, I'm gonna go in and try to bum a pack of cards off them. Then, if they're that stoked, I want a free pack of cards.
It's not nepotism per se, but throw some weight around. Oh yeah, no. I could get on about the D&D and Magic crossover going on right now.
It's amazing.
How much I'm excited.
Just in voice actors and advertising, and I mean, Magic just continues to grow and grow and grow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Good rule set. We did learn that. It took us a lot longer to create the core rule set of our board game than we anticipated. So I have a lot of respect for a well done core rule set.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's amazingly difficult, and trying to homebrew rules around those for things like D&D. It's so challenging sometimes.
Our middle son really likes Magic, and he had to teach me how to play because I'd never played before. He's a very good teacher. I'm still really bad at it, though. He kicks my butt every time.
Yeah, I won 1 round last night, and that's because we had an odd number of people, and I didn't play a round, so they gave me an automatic win. It's the only way that I've gotten a point in a tournament, so... It's a learning process, I'm told.
Yes.
You can't be perfect at it at the first time.
Well, that's what was defeating. Was our middle son's pretty darn good out of the gate. He's done some tournaments and he's placed pretty high up. And he's only, at the time he was only like 11, and he's like, "You're too smart for your own good."
Yeah. Gross kids.
I know.
Well, he's the one that these are all their projects, right? So the graphic novel is my oldest. He's a concept art fanatic, and the board game is my middle. We tried to create our own board, our Hero Quest, on our own for a long time without the concept of hiring professionals. And then the Game Boy game was, it was all pandemic homeschool projects. So we triple dipped their passion, their homeschool credits, and a business project.
Love that. It's a very efficient,
Yeah.
All about it.
Yeah, well, I will not hold you guys up anymore. Once again, check out their stuff at that Linktree by BiFrost Studios. Follow their Patreon. I'm looking at you. Couple bucks a month. Supporting a great project.
We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know how to close out the show because Lou is not here. I'm sure I can figure out the buttons, but thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna hang up here.
All right.
Right.
Bye. All right, everybody. Lou showed me which button to press, and I no longer remember. Whoops, 1 second. Come on. Is that it? There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Lou's here to save me. I found the button. I found it.
You found the button.
I found the button, so we're
found
back
the
to
button.
this.
Yeah.
You're good. No.
Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
The consequences of running a shop and a YouTube channel simultaneously.
Sometimes you forget to ask which button turns off the live stream.
Well, guys, don't forget to watch Spine Ticks immediately after this.
Yeah. Check out our Patreon. Yeah, there we go. Our Patreon.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and make sure to check out BiFrost Studios. We also have some more skits and stuff that'll be getting released throughout the week. And, of course, next Saturday, like we promised, we'll be resuming more of our comedy stuff. So.
Oh, thank God. So excited. Also, remember, like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube. At 1,000, we're giving away that autographed copy of our exclusive Red Sonja cover. All right?
All righty.
Catch you on the flip side, guys.